Hey guys, I just finished watching, the latest episode of Need to Know, and it was regarding disclosure updates. And oh my God, I hope you are either sitting down or laying down. And I'm pinching myself because I cannot believe this happened just recently. Okay, the U.S. Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, just announced a proposed amendment to next year's National Defense Authorization Act that contains explicit references to non-human intelligences. Now, Bryce and Ross from Need to Know have stated that, in which I have the link below also. Um, but they absolutely think that there's a reason behind, like, they aren't revealing why they think, but they said there's definitely a reason why this is happening now. And I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. Chuck Schumer, the Senate majority leader, is very, very careful about what he speaks out about. So, and it's very rare that he does it. So it's kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. And Ross is convinced that he knows something quite big and significant, while Bryce is calling it a controlled disclosure of UAP information. But they both say perhaps there are possible dark forces behind the purpose of talking about this now. Now, in Section 2 of the amendment that Schumer has presented, it's the findings, it's called Findings, Declarations, and Purposes, okay? It states that the federal government's knowledge and information related to UAP should be preserved and centralized for historical and federal government purposes, that they all have a presumption of immediate disclosure and should eventually to enable the public to become fully informed about the history of the government's knowledge and involvement surrounding UAPs. Now, Ross goes on to say that his sources tell him that there has been people coming forward with secret testimonies to Congress. And the key, honestly, it's just to the Senate, the committees that have the clearances necessary. It's not all of them. So that's something to remember as well. That could also set up a little bit of a blockade, if you will, to how much is actually said or disclosed at these hearings that are coming up on July 26th, I believe. So now it's a historical moment, but finally saying that, yes, that parts of the federal government are hiding something. This legislation also becomes necessary because credible evidence and testimony indicates that federal government UAP records exist that have not been declassified or subject to mandatory declassification review, as set forth in Executive Order 13526. That is relating to classified national security information, due in part to exemption under the Atomic Energy Act of 1954, as well as an overbroad interpretation of trans-classified foreign nuclear information, which is also exempt from declassification, thereby preventing public disclosure under existing conditions of law. So basically, the federal government has been layering under and behind the Atomic Energy Act of 1954 in order to keep all of the information they have, and it's been, 80 years, hidden from us under this specific act of 1954. Now, if that doesn't piss you off, okay? Now, Bryce Zabel makes a point of saying that there's got to be a reason that the powers that be are moving so quickly on something that's been purposely hidden for so long. He suspects the reason for the sudden rush is because there's bad news involved. And he doesn't know exactly what it is, but people are talking, and he thinks that there's a fire behind Chuck's back to do this now. Ross thinks he knows from his sources because there's a time constraint. Something's going on. And he won't disclose what it is because he doesn't want to betray his sources who are not ready to come forward quite yet. But there is just a huge avalanche, okay, building towards disclosure, that it's basically just, it's becoming a juggernaut. It's like, it's beyond control of stopping at this point, especially now that Senate Majority Leader has come forward and said, he must know something, like what Ross said. He must know something huge in order to be. And then there's this big rush now. So now, like I said, July 26th, there's a hearing with the House Oversight Committee, and David GRUSCH is supposed to testify. Now there's also 3 other people that will be joining David GRUSCH, the whistleblower, that I will be releasing another video about tomorrow. And 3 others that are in the know. Now, these 3 other people, we don't know if they're if they have firsthand knowledge, or if they're another group of secondhand knowledge people. But I mean, depending on what they're asked, I mean, the House Oversight Committee may not have all the clearances necessary to ask all the questions that they'd really like to ask. Like, for instance, about what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow, which is that aliens have, yes, in fact, killed human beings. Okay, so there have been incidences where there was a clash between these. And now, again, tomorrow, you'll see that I will also be talking about agreements that had to be made between these non-human intelligences and us. Well, the government, federal government. Federal government's really, feet are in the fire now, not being held to the fire. They're in the fire now. So just stay tuned with me. I know that July 26th seems like a forever away, because it seems like forever away for me too. But it's only, 8 days, 9 days away. So I'm going to be following it. I'm going to follow up after that with my 30,000 foot version of a review on it. But stay tuned with me, okay? And I promise to keep it current. And until then, I hope you are all staying happy and healthy, and stay weird, and take care. All right? Okay. Bye.